Getting rid of personal items is very difficult for some people. Here's an idea to make it easier. If you've been following my channel, one of the things I talk about is getting rid of clutter, because I've been doing that for a couple of years. I have been getting rid of boatloads of stuff. I mean, I've gotten rid of like plastic totes full of things to the tune of maybe 100 of them that were in my garage, my attic, my outdoor shed, which I built 18 feet long because I needed a place to put my stuff. I've been getting rid of tons of stuff. Possibly even if I waited, it might even be a ton. Anyhow, I've been getting rid of stuff. And one thing people sometimes ask me is, how do you decide how to get rid of something that's personal? It's difficult to get rid of something that's personal. Let's say you went to the Bruce Springsteen concert in 1984. By the way, great tour. I got like 10 shirts from that. And you don't want to part with the shirt that you got, or maybe a bunch of shirts that you got. And by the way, they probably don't fit. But that's another story. So how do you get rid of personal items when you just don't feel right? Or even more so, let's say you have some things from a former relationship, or let's say from a family member who's passed on, and you just simply, you can't see yourself getting rid of something that was special or that means something, and you don't want to get rid of the memory. Well, first thing you need to do is accept the fact that the person and the object aren't the same. Like my father, for example, he passed along. And there are a number of items that he had that were personal, that I know were his. And they weren't necessarily, anything of any real monetary value, but they were personal to him. But the issue is, you have to distance yourself from the object and say, well, listen, throwing away the object is not throwing away the person. And you don't necessarily lose the memory of that person just because you don't have the object. Now, I do say you should have objects that do remind you of places you've been, of things you've done, people you've known, all of the above, etc. But there's another way. Instead of storing all of these objects, and especially if you're not actually actively displaying them on a wall or something like that. But let's say you have large numbers of objects, some things from your childhood, for example, and you've been holding on to them. And you just, every now and then, you go through your stuff in your garage or your attic and you pull it out and say, boy, I remember when I first got this, I was 6 years old and I was going to Hershey Park and I did this and that. And you say, I can't get rid of that. I'll forget the memory. Well, to be honest with you, you probably would forget the memory if it wasn't a good memory. And if you needed an object to remind you of it, you're going about it the wrong way. Take a picture of it. Seriously, take a picture of it. If you have this little Hershey keepsake that you've been keeping, because when you went to the Hershey factory in 1976, if you've been keeping it just to remind yourself of the day you went to the Hershey factory, and if it really means that much to you, take a picture of it. That's it. Store it in your iCloud or wherever you want to put it. And then every now and then, instead of rummaging through your box and pulling out that little, goofball Hershey man with the little eyeballs or whatever it is that's reminding you of your 1976 journey to Hershey Park, throw it out, donate it, give it away, whatever you want to do. But at the end of the day, what really matters is the memory itself. And if it's good, it'll stay there. And if you really need a trigger, take a photo of something before you give it away, sell it, throw it out, whatever it is. It can help if that's what you need. But to be honest with you, for a lot of that stuff, if the memories needed a trigger, they weren't really that good a memory. And that's today's idea of the day. All right, there it is. That's today's idea of the day. Some of them are pretty good, right? And some of them suck, I admit. First to admit, some of my ideas suck. But if you visit Idea of the Day every day and you subscribe to my channel by looking at the subscribe link in the corner, you'll see a brand new idea every single day. And I promise you, some of them don't suck.